Hello, everybody.
Right. Hello. Welcome back.
No introductions needed.
No. Yes, I am Dorothy,
Hi, I'm Zach.
and we are GingerUnscripted.
Yes, we are here. When was the last time we were here?
Pretty fairly recently enough,
I think so.
We didn't wait an entire century this time.
We are committed to hopefully doing 2 a month.
We're committed to something.
I feel like one every 6 weeks feels good to me as a max.
We are committed to doing our best.
We're here.
That's what
And we're committed.
And we're here together when it's raining in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And if you don't live in LA
Or California.
you know that when it rains here, people cancel everything.
Oh, yeah.
You don't do you don't leave your
Can't
home.
function.
No functioning. So the fact that Zach journeyed here for this podcast recording today in the rain.
A whole 22 minutes, guys.
Through the rain.
You have
commitment.
parking, which makes it super easy. So,
Yeah.
and I park underground.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy. It's not. It's like you know my building. My building was made in like the 40s. Like you enter in the parking garage, and there are just straight up signs everywhere, being like, could be asbestos, could be lead, could be cancer. We don't know. Maybe
But
you
we're
should,
not liable.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, this is the only place to park my car, and it's still got broken into one time.
Yeah.
I need to move.
My thoughts every week.
Yeah, I'm like, when I'm paying so little comparatively for the city, comparatively for other places in the world.
Yeah. The apartment prices are a joke.
Yeah.
They're very laughable.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, good to have you.
Welcome back. This
Back?
is our podcast
Yeah.
where we talk to each other in a candid, unscripted format, and we're both gingers.
One fake.
No, we're never telling you
One real.
which. Yeah.
And who's who.
Yeah. That's for you to decide and for us to deny.
Oh, since we're talking about our hair, though,
Yeah.
we do have one user question that's applicable to that. And
Got
they
it.
said, J Bonkers 96 said, since you both have
Great name.
amazing hair,
Yeah.
what is one hair product you have to have?
You start.
Oh, no. Okay, so nobody likes this answer, but to be honest, I'm like very simple with my hair routine. I don't like using a gazillion things, so I just feel like any leave-in conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
I like the K18 leave-in conditioner, just hair masks, come on, any of that.
How does it? I've yet to do a hair mask, but people tell me about them all the time.
Yeah.
How does it work? Is it just like a cream you put in, or is it like a?
It's pretty much
Is it like a
more
hair net kind of thing?
a hairnet.
Yeah, like.
Oh, you're like a cap you're putting
Yeah,
on?
or like I thought it was all like all the above. It came with like some type of leave-in conditioner, and then it came with like a cap.
I'm
like,
sure there is that.
Because they make foot masks, and they're like
You're
kind of
right.
like little
You're right,
socks you
little
put on,
socks.
and then
You're
face
right.
masks you put
You're
on an
right.
actual mask.
Well, the girlies on TikTok have
We
been
love the girlies.
wrapping their heads in saran wrap after they put conditioner in their hair. So you're right. People are doing it, but that's not what I'm
Seems
referring
like
to.
Too much.
You would think, but of course they swear by it for the
but,
health of their hair.
people
But
swear by a lot of things.
People do.
Some people really think the Earth is flat and we never went to the moon.
The amount of intricacies in some of the routines I see nowadays are truly crazy.
Is there a conspiracy that you believe in your heart to be true?
Off the top of my head,
Or the bottom?
I can't think of one.
Okay,
off the
well,
top of my
we'll come
head.
back. If during at any
Yeah.
point in this podcast, no matter who is speaking, a conspiracy. Shut up, stop talking. I got to tell you about this.
Do you have one?
Conspiracy or hair product?
Both.
Well, like you, the reason why I wanted you to go first is similar to you. I don't like to use a lot of products.
Yeah.
And, obviously like being on TikTok and stuff like that's even to this day, I like posted a TikTok and I was like, hey guys, like, let me know if you have any questions. Like I'm filming with Dorothy today. And people were like, hair products, hair routine. What you guys see now, if you are watching on YouTube,
So glossy.
this is just my hair. It's still ever so slightly damp because it's raining and all that stuff. There's nothing in it. I don't like to put stuff in my hair. I have some stuff. But if you have naturally curly hair, obviously you don't curl it. So it's just about managing the hydration of your curls. So I'm a fan of WeDad products. So they have a leave-in conditioner that I'll use maybe once a month. They also have like a humidity control. So if it's like super windy out or super hot or
Very
anything,
nice.
I'll pop that in. But other than that, guys, just get yourself like a dead man brush.
Okay.
It's like a curly haired brush, and as you curl it down, you can kind of like twist it. There's like there's the what are they called? Things on the comb, the head.
I don't speak
little
curly
fibers.
hair. I don't know, but
No, but like on a brush, bristles. What are the things called?
bristles?
Bristles. Yeah. Anyways,
Tooths? Teeth?
teeth. The teeth of the comb. Yeah.
Teeth of the comb?
I also use like a wide tooth one. You know, just like the plastic ones that are like just like the regular comb that are wide.
Okay.
That's good too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Your hair is very shiny and glossy. It's very nice.
I think it's the light that you did a good job.
Well-
Hey, guys, let us know how you feel about the editing of the lights. We got one comment, and that's how our brains work. We read all the positive ones, and we go like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Then we get one negative one, and it's like as soon as I walked in the door, and it was funny because I saw it, I almost tagged Dorothy, but then I was like, it is what it is. As soon as I walk in the door, Dorothy's like, hey, we got this one comment, and I knew. I was like, was it that one person said? So let us know, guys, if you how you feel
about the lighting,
and
and
the
what
editing.
if you are like very knowledgeable about lighting? What do you feel like we can
Could be
do
improved upon.
to make it better? Thanks.
Yeah.
We are trying to do our best here, so yeah. Oh. We have a cat disturbance. If you're just listening, there's a
No,
cat
no.
that is demanding much attention right now.
I'd pick him up, but this boy don't like that.
So
Should we jump to one of mine?
Yeah.
So one thing we haven't done, and we try to remember to do, is assuming that this is like the very first time someone was listening.
Yes.
So we did a little bit of the introduction, but essentially the vibe of this podcast is just two friends who ask each other questions and respond to you guys, that kind of thing. Just like a candid conversation.
Gibber-gabbering.
Gibbing and gabbering.
Gibbing and gabbing.
Ticking and talking. So that's what I got wrote down. So my first thing I wrote down is guess on the pod. If so, what? And I think I meant ooh. So in general...
No, I think that's way more interesting. Yeah. What creature should we get involved?
Yeah. What kind of thing should we bring show and tell on the pod?
Should we just have like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man?
I think I know what I meant because technically I wrote guess on the pod of so what, but I know in my boomer big thumb I meant two things by that. Like if so who, and if so like what would our setup be? So those are my questions for you. First of all, because this is also your podcast. Your consent is important. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how do you feel, and would you like to bring guests at any point?
Or are you like, heck
yeah,
no?
If you were
you
like,
guys
Zach, I signed up because this is your space. You know, you could be like, listen, I'm just here to talk to you. Like, I don't want a stranger in here. Let's wait until we have the funds to like have a studio. Like, that'd be fair. That'd be okay. Like, listen, I'm very particular about my space. So that's the first question. Are you comfortable with guests? 2, if so, who? And 3, the third thing would be, how do we logistically set that up? I think it'd be funny if we get them in between us. But
just like a third head,
but
this growing out of our shoulders.
This podcast is already precarious as it is. Because I don't know if you guys can hear the cat. I really hope you can. That's our first guest.
My cats are definitely our first guest.
Most podcasts, like, it's almost like they set up around a desk, because they don't want their mics picking up each other. So maybe we could put them like way back. But those are the 3 questions for you. Go.
That's great. Yes, let us know if there's anybody you feel like might match our vibe.
No, those
or
questions
maybe
were for you.
What?
Yeah, the consent. I'm not asking them their consent. Is that why you thought it was so funny?
No. I thought. Well,
well, yeah, we're also asking you, but right now I'm asking Dorothy. So shut your mouth and let her talk.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm open. I'm open to having somebody in the space if we feel like they're, a good fit. Not totally against it. And who? I feel like it would. Nobody like specifically comes off the top of the noggin, but
I have some friends who have been hounding me to get on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know Moises.
Yeah. Oh, he would be great.
Don't know why, but I was traditionally in podcasts like you have a guest on that's like either has something to advertise or there's like an angle to it, like world's fastest man, whatever. But I think it would be funny just for us to bring on our friends because this is just like two friends chatting.
Gibber-gabber.
So it's like we don't even need to be like, there's a reason. Like I could wait till Moises has a movie coming out. He's a very successful actor friend of mine, but he's been hounding me. And then I don't know if you've ever met my friend Hank, who's also like a content creator, spicy worker that also has like a podcast thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very, very open to that. I feel like anybody that you feel like would kind of fit the vibe that we've got going on here, or
just
even
silly little
for shits and giggles, somebody that was polar opposite of the vibe, and that added like another
you and I
layer
could just
of
feel
craziness.
so awkward, being like, man, this person is not having a good time. We're not having a good time. The audience is not even going to have fun listening and or watching this.
I don't know to that extent.
Let's just bring people we hate. Let's each bring our own enemies. and then have the other person, because I would be a stranger to your enemies. You would be a stranger to mine. And we can coordinate us saying things to the enemies as if we were a stranger, but cut deep. It's like, so my enemy is like really insecure about their gums or something. And you could just naturally just be like, what's it like to have such a gummy smile?
I would say that would be incredibly dangerous, knowing how viciously loyal each of us are. And I would say that's something perhaps would not need to be.
Do you have any enemies?
Live streamed.
I don't know if I have enemies.
Do I have enemies?
Yeah. We are foes.
I wouldn't say enemies, blessings to everybody.
People you would prefer to not spend your time with.
Oh, there's plenty of those.
So then, okay. Okay. Well, then I want to assign a monetary value to this. So let's assume we're on like a plane, and it's like two seats on each row.
Okay.
Okay. And then your top enemy that you would not want to spend time with sits next to you, but there's a seat upgrade on another plane. What is the maximum amount of money you would pay to not have to sit on like that 5-hour flight next to this person?
Oh, that I would pay?
Yeah.
The maximum?
Yeah. Because you probably do it for $20, right? If they were like, hey, $20, you get another plane.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
And now it's $1,000.
Yeah.
For $1,000.
For 5 hours?
Yeah. Like LA to Miami.
It's like I'm so good at ignoring people. So it's also
but it's like really,
I know,
like,
just right there.
Like it's a spirit flight. And like there's no outlets. All your devices are dead. You didn't bring a book. You have nothing to do. Your options are to just stare. And you can't sleep because you had 3 shots of caffeine. So your only options are to sit there in silence or to interact with them.
Well, I would be taking an oath of silence. That's for sure. Oh man, the max that I would pay.
Yeah.
I feel like anything more than like, I don't know. It depends on the day that you caught me. If I'm having like a really up month, I'd probably pay like $1,000 or maybe even a little bit more just to get away.
I would. I for sure would. Depending on the person.
Yeah.
There are probably some people in my life. Actually, let me think about this. I'm trying to think of people I wouldn't want to, and like I feel like in that moment I would go into fight or flight. Yeah. And I feel like I would just decide time to squash this beef.
Battle it out!
I would go that route. I was like, I got 5 hours.
Oh, no.
And, because maybe this was just like childhood and adolescence, but like there are a few stories in my life of people who have like started out disliking me. And over time, we either like worked it out or like what have you. Like one of my best friends, his name's Jesse. You met Jesse. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He did not like me because we kind of like grew up together, like middle school, high school, that kind of thing. He did not like me at all. And now we're best friends. So maybe I would just go for
enemies to friends trope.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I fear that the people I'm thinking of, I know they would not want to be silent. Like I know that they would just want to have. I have
some of that too. Time. So there's definitely some of those where I'd be like, all right, yeah.
Like how much am I willing to pay for my peace?
Yeah. Jeez.
Or honestly, I probably just like be able to pay somebody else on the flight cheaper to just be like, I'll switch seats with you. Even if it's like 2 rows back.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you $500 right now if I could just swap spots with
I
you.
should have specified.
But, that's kind of loopholing the question a little bit.
Yeah. Would you rather fight a bear or an octopus? Neither. I'd rather...
And with a foot fish.
Okay.
Was that the completion of your question?
I guess so, yeah.
Good sir.
Yeah, we kind of went in a couple directions here, but that's the point here.
All right.
Yeah. I'm double mugged up now.
Double mug.
For those of you listening, not watching, I have not one but 2 beverages. And that's the life of luxury when you hang out with Dorothy Mannine.
Oh, yeah. That's right. All the beverages. What does the inspirational message on the mug say?
Good friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're always there. I love that.
One thing about my apartment is every corner will inspire you.
You're like the final boss in like Wine Moms, you know? Like,
oh no!
Like you have the same like style of us, like this one right here, like the movie book, like and like even this right here, be the girl who decided to go for it. Like this could easily be like a live, laugh, love.
Oh yeah.
Like you are what those moms like you are their girl boss, like emperor that they are trying to become, you know?
The final boss that kills it.
With all love and respect.
Thank you very much. My mom was definitely, she loved the
one of those wine glasses that can
quotes.
fit an entire bottle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Christmas
My
gift.
mom loves
Yeah.
like the magnets on the fridge that say, murderously sarcastic
I love
things.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, Mrs. Mannine.
Yes. Oh, yes. She'll be watching this.
Yeah.
Hello, mother.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a question from Eliza KD that said, what is your number 1 no skip album? They also said, every lyric and could listen to forever.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know.
I'm a I feel like this isn't like a fun answer, but I'm a Young the Giant fan. So some of their early albums are just start to finish. Just
nice.
Yeah.
What if I didn't know who that was?
That's all right.
Okay.
They're just like I don't know, I guess indie rock band.
Indie rock?
Yeah, they were like popularized maybe in like 2011, 2012.
Oh, yeah?
You'd know like they're famous.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
I
I'm not
almost
gonna embarrass myself and sing. I'm also I'm so bad at that skill when you're like thinking of a melody or you have a song stuck in your head and you have to like imitate it for a friend. I'm so bad at doing that, and every time I try, I'm like, oh God, why am I doing this? Also, Teenage Dream by Katy Perry.
A plot twist,
right?
A great plot twist.
I don't know. That album hit like junior year of high school for me. And I only have one poster. I feel like I'm on the record saying this. I have like one poster in my bedroom, childhood bedroom, and it's like Katy Perry. She's like in like a pink like bodysuit with like a giant boa. Yeah, boa, those things.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
is like
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
on like a fake moon. But I listened to that album and I know every lyric to every song.
That's a great album.
You know? I've got more thoughts on Katy Perry that I will not share right this moment.
All right, well, we'll save that for...
It's not like she's going to watch this, so I don't know. But like, I feel like she's gone off the deep end a few times, I feel like, in the last like 10, 15 years. What do we think about that?
That's the thing is like, I really haven't heard much about her.
She gives me the vibe as like, just kind of like, I hate to go back to this, but like wine cougar mom, like 'cause she did American Idol, and I feel like I've just seen so many clips of her being pretty outlandish towards good-looking male contestants, like kind of like "Where's My Hug" energy. And maybe this is being like a little misconstrued and stuff, but I just feel like I don't know. What do you think below in the comments?
About
like Katy Perry, I feel like peak was like 2012, Teenage Dream, and like I feel like to go from that to where we are here, how do we feel about that journey? Does that journey make sense?
It's funny when you said that the rock band, I was like, am I thinking like Linkin Park maybe is one of my favorite, but a no skip.
Listen to Linkin Park?
Yeah, of course.
I
Still
didn't know
hey,
that.
oh yeah.
We've never discussed your emo tendencies.
Oh, it was emo.
Oh, really? We've talked about emo night, right?
Yeah, I want to
Oh,
go
okay.
so bad,
Oh,
but
well,
I've
we
never
should go.
been. Oh, I would love that.
I think it's
so
like
much.
the 15th of every month.
Every month?
Yeah.
Oh, we have to do that.
Well, they do it like across the country, but I think it's every month here in LA.
I want to
Yeah.
go.
All right.
Okay. But yeah, I was thinking maybe Lincoln Park because I love so many Lincoln Parks. But
Sing one.
no.
Dang it. Almost. You thought about it for half a second. Is Lincoln Park the one where it's like, I've come so far? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Just like that.
yeah. I said I was going to do it, and I did it. All right, Lincoln Park, that's respectable.
But I would say a current no skip album, and this might say something about my state of being for the girlies that know, but Lemonade by Beyonce.
Oh.
I wouldn't say I know every lyric.
Damn.
But I could listen to it.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah. Great. What else you got for us?
Totally changing subjects.
Great.
Favorite mouth noises, like automatopoeias. Like, do you have a favorite? Like, we were just talking about the noises for your cats and stuff.
Math?
Mouth.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite mouth noise?
Mouth
or
noise.
Yeah. Are you ever like going around like maybe it's like my own brand of tism, like but like vocal stims and stuff. Like you ever like going around and like either humming stuff or making certain noises or anything like that?
Humming is really good for your mental health. Just side note.
Is it?
That's what they say.
Who said that? Who's
You
that?
know, the people.
The humming people?
The mental health podcast people.
I wish my cat never comes up and sits on my lap like this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got plenty to go around. I'd love to lap sit. So, I don't know if I have.
I'm a sucker for a good like. No.
Yeah,
I
you
was-
should do
I-
some ASMR with your little.
Your for
little
every one
mouth
person that
sounds.
would be into that, I'm sure. I don't know what there's some type of phobia for like people's mouth noises and like
Oh, you know what?
especially
Now
like
that you say
the
that,
tongue at the top of the mouth like that
oh,
when talking.
there's one podcast I listen to, and their mic quality is so good.
Yeah.
But when I listen to it listening with headphones.
Yeah.
I hear like the saliva
Yeah.
in their mouths.
I have
and it drives me crazy.
I have a microphone that I use for certain things for the people that are aware.
Yes.
And it is so sensitive that you can hear me taking my breaths, which is not
Yeah.
that bad, but like even my swallows, like I'll be talking and just kind of and it's helpful because like I'm using it for like that type of purposes, but like it's not fun to edit.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
If you have a favorite mouth noise, but
Oh.
it doesn't sound like it. I feel like
Yeah, I don't
feel
think
like half the people in the comments, as soon as I say it, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like
you
like
guys.
I'm
have
also a
favorite
fan
mouth
of going
noises?
like boo whoop." Like, you know, you're just driving around, you're like, "Oh hey, look, yeah, boo whoop." You know, it's a fun one.
That is a fun one. You know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I make so many noises at my cats in the
Yeah.
duration of the day.
Yeah,
I think for me, it's more just like all the accents that I do throughout
Sure.
the day. Like I speak British to my cats a lot.
let's hear some.
You don't want to, really.
This is good. I can't do British, so I like it.
I can't. It's not good. It's really terrible, but I do it a lot. It's very fun. So yeah, very good. Would you check yes, Ashley would like to know, would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands?
So my question is then, if I choose one,
The other one stays the same.
okay.
I thought the same thing when I first read that question.
Okay, so then I think hands for feet. I think I'd rather go full hands rather than 4 foot.
Yeah, I concur.
I think monkeys do it. We're pretty much monkeys.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
I can't imagine sipping my matcha with my toes.
Yeah, I just don't know if you're just like you could conceivably still live a very normal life with hands for feet.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have feet for hands, you're the feet for hands guy. You know,
So if you have hands for feet, are you wearing gloves or socks?
you'd need like specially made, almost like barefoot shoes, but for hands. But my question is like, so if this is your foot, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it is. Would the hand be like this?
Right.
Or would it be like this?
Right.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I know.
but
Yeah,
you
'cause
probably have
would
to
you
wear like
constantly, because wouldn't it
Yeah.
hurt your wrist?
Yeah.
Your ankle wrist.
Yeah.
Because your hand would always have to be like this.
Get back to us. It was Spark Ashley.
Yeah.
Get back to us on those.
Check Ashley.
On those
Yes,
clarifications.
Ashley.
You have our preliminary answers. Okay, get back to us on the specifics.
We would like more in depth.
Yeah. Voice notes. How do you feel about them? I feel like I already know your answer, but the audience doesn't.
Yeah, I probably abuse voice notes a little too much, mostly just with my close friends. One, I hate texting with a burning passion.
It's the worst.
And if I have to write something that's longer than a sentence, I'm putting it in a voice note. I also feel like they add a lot more extra like pizzazz and flavor. Like if you just have some tea going on, like something just happened, you have to tell your bestie, it's going in a voice note.
Well, iPhone now too, like auto like translates voice memos. So the people don't, you don't even have to listen to them. Yeah, if you update your phone or if it allow it. Now when I send a voice memo or receive one, I can like click underneath it and it shows me like the text of everything that was said.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm also pro voice note.
Yeah.
I have the exact same mentality as you. Like,
yeah,
this is going to be too long. And I'm, maybe it's just like the way our brains work or whatever, but I'm much more comfortable like just like talking into a subject, like improvising around. But if I have to sit down and write it, like it's going to take me way longer to like draft and like look over and this and that, which, you know, has its time and place. But
yeah,
it's just so much easier to just kind of like word vomit on your friends and make them listen to it in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like I love receiving long ones. So
Really?
I let myself think that way too when I'm sending the long ones without feeling guilty for sending a long one, because I do like receiving them, because usually I'll just like get to play it
and then
do whatever business I'm doing, and I can listen to what's going on rather than me have to stand there and read
a whole thing.
A whole thingamabob.
That's good to know, because I try to, when I send mine, I try to keep them like as short as possible.
I don't mind.
Or if they're long, I'll like break them up in like 2-minute chunks.
In doses, in chapters.
Yeah, that way you're like, well, because it's gotten better, but I've been a voice memoer for as long as I can. And for the longest time, the voice memos on like iPhone, you couldn't like pause them. If you like pause them, you had to go back to the beginning, and you couldn't fast forward and stuff.
Yeah.
So the worst thing was like you're 6 minutes into your friend's thing.
Yeah.
And you like get a phone call, and then it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like,
mine are still like that. Are yours not?
I think you need to update your phone.
Yeah, I tried to update it the other day, and it was like, no.
Well, that's Apple for you.
Okay,
hey, you
good.
trying to make your life easier? I don't think so.
And it's also it's been freezing my phone a lot lately, because you know it's trying to encourage me to like do the update, but it also doesn't want me to do that. So we're in a happy in between.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, both of them.
Both of the phones.
Both of the
you're
phones. Double phone.
Are you gonna keep up with the double phone?
I don't think so. I'm finding myself leaning towards giving one of them the boot, but
Have you
we'll
been
see.
spending more time on social media recently? I feel like I've been seeing
Me more active.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been,
Yeah.
but in a much, I feel like taking the break really helped me be more selective now about when I do it. So I have kind of a rule. I only scroll on TikTok when I'm sitting drinking my matcha. Anytime other than that, I don't open it to scroll, because you'll find that you just like are doing it at the most, and then you end up caught into it.
100%.
So I kind of have like my more.
Yeah. I feel like I'm finally getting to the point now where TikTok has just pissed me off enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Like TikTok has this thing now. I don't know if you've noticed, because maybe every couple of months I'll go onto my page and I'll like, go through some of my TikToks and just kind of like catch up on comments or just, watch it or whatever. You now, if you're scrolling your own page, you now get served with ads. If you're on your page scrolling through your own content, every like third one will be an ad. And I'm like, I understand if you're on someone else's profile, and you're like viewing their stuff and they give you an ad, whatever. But I'm like, I'm reviewing my own work that I've licensed to you to use for free. And you're making me watch an ad on my own time?
Yeah.
So I've been spending more time on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. See, I have yet to do it. I've literally I've only ever watched it on desktop, clicking on one.
Yeah.
But I've never done the scroll version of it.
It's okay. Well, I just like that it's like a different feed. I've also, TikTok's just like a weird app. It's like really sexual, and there's like a lot of like people doing weird stuff on it. Yeah. I feel like with YouTube, it's a little bit more solidified. So I feel like that stuff gets caught like pretty quickly. So it's like more of the content I want to see, which is like video game content or like comedians or like podcasts. And I've also just been trying to like get more savvy as to like how to post a good YouTube reel. Yeah.
All right, I've got a great question from Chesley Love. The difference between romantic versus friendship breakups, like similarities and the impact that both could have on someone.
Wow. This actually ties into one of my things
great.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to take the lead, sir?
What was the question again?
So kind of like the difference between, she was saying in particular, like she's got a situation where more like friendship breakups, because there's a lot of media about romantic breakups and how to heal from them, and not so much friendship breakups. So kind of like the similarities of both, but also, you know, dealing with friendship breakups.
So like mainly just how to deal with friendship breakups. Okay. That's so interesting. Well, I'm so glad you asked that, because literally what I wrote down was weird things in relationships, but not friendships.
Hey.
Expressing boundaries.
That's great.
That's kind of the weird, I feel like, dynamic of like friendships versus relationships. Like there are certain things, in some ways, I feel like friendships are easier, but also more strict than a relationship. Because in a relationship, we might allow certain things to happen. We allow our partner to do things that we don't allow our friends to do. That's not all negative, like, you know, like intimacy, you know, there's different forms of that. But it's interesting that, especially like if we think about like expressing boundaries and stuff, like it's almost easier to just say to your friend, like, oh, hey, like I don't appreciate that. And like, for the most part, your friend can only respond affirmatively. Like if your friend is like, hey, actually, I don't appreciate when you do that. Like there's no like, well, last week you did it. Like it would just be weird for a friend to say that.
Yeah.
So in regards to like getting over friend breakups, I feel like really you just kind of have to like let yourself feel the feelings. And like, I feel like a big part of it, for me, the weird part of a friend breakup is like almost not giving yourself permission to feel how you're feeling, because you're like, well, it was just a friend, right? It wasn't a relationship. Like, why am I mourning the loss of losing this friendship? Or why is it weird this person's no longer in my life? They were just a friend. So for me, the biggest thing is to just being like, well, you know, like this person was important to me, and like, sure, maybe it was only platonic or what have you, but like they had an impact in my life, and I, you know, maybe I didn't appreciate how it ended or you know, whatever. So that would be my advice, of just like, give yourself the grace to be like, hey, I know it's not a breakup, but like you're still allowed to like have feelings about it.
Yeah, that's good.
What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I've actually experienced more grief from friendship breakups than I ever have from romantic breakups. And I don't know if it's because I feel like with romantic breakups, there's kind of like a part of your brain that's like, there is a chance that we either get married or we break up, right?
Right.
And so
it's
you're
it's
kind of
of
like
always on that timeline.
Yeah. So you're always kind of like, there's an understanding that if things break off for whatever reason, not to say it won't hurt, but there's like that level of understanding that happens. But I feel like for friendships, obviously, like we all subconsciously know that not all friendships last forever, but I feel like it's this level of intimacy, but that's not really prepared to know that, especially if it's, you know, you feel like it's kind of sudden in how it happens, or you were really tight, but like maybe there's just like a falling out that happens, and
or if there's like lack of clarity.
Yeah, I also feel like too with intimate like relationships, it tends to come to more of like a boiling point and then it's done. Whereas friendship breakups don't always, sometimes like the extreme can give you more of a cleaner break in a way.
Sure, yeah.
But friendship breakups tend to be more like a soft unfolding and how they come apart, and so it can hurt like a little more. It's more like paper cuts, like a bunch of paper cuts.
There's just less context. Like you could walk into like a bar anywhere in the world and be like, I just got dumped, and everybody knows what that would mean.
Right.
And there would be kind of like social norms and even like movies and songs like dictating like what that experience is going to be like. But if you walk into a bar and you're just like, my best friend said we can't be friends anymore, they'd be like, okay. I don't want to be your friend either, guy. So
true. So true, especially for the girlies out there. I feel like girl friendships too are girl. Is that how I said it? Girl friendships.
You know, your girlfriends. We were girls together.
Me and the girls.
Yeah. We was our special bond. Me and Lucy. We were girls together. Sorry.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like girls especially, we tend to be so vulnerable with each other so fast. Like with your girlfriends, you share everything so deeply, so quickly, and it's so intimate that sometimes even more than like most girls do with their like intimate partners, the things you share, like your feelings and all that with your girlfriends. Which obviously, you know, I encourage boys to do the same, but most don't. With their guy friends. But that can really be, another reason why it's so painful too, because it's somebody that you were so vulnerable with too, and then it's just gone. Like you lose that person you were vulnerable with.
What are some other weird like differences between like friendships and romantic relationships that like? Because at the end of the day, like they're both relationships, and you're both like committed to like supporting the other person and like finding joy with them and what have you, and then. The only difference really is intimacy in some regards. So what are some other like weird, almost like double standards like that? Like the one we just highlighted of like, there's no context for a friend breakup. Like you're almost not allowed to mourn it. Like the other one would be like expressing boundaries is just kind of is a little bit different. Are there any others you can?
Yeah, I think you brought up such a good point by saying that we're usually way more forgiving with our partner than we are with our friends. And I almost feel like we should be so much more aware of that.
It should be the same.
It should be the same, because most of the time, like if you had like a friend that was like, I don't know, low-key like emotionally manipulating you, like you wouldn't put up with that.
Totally.
But we like there's a lot of things
like
that we forget.
You and like giving you the cold shoulder.
Yeah, like you would never deal with that. Hopefully, right? Or you know, if you do eventually, I feel
cut
like
out
most
the friend
of us,
in your life that secretly wants to be you and wants your life. I just saw that TikTok.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of those. I feel like I've been seeing a lot. Yeah,
have you had friendships like that?
That secretly want to be me?
Just kind of that kind of vibe where like they were always like kind of like maybe like mean when other people were involved, or like belittling or discouraging.
Yeah, I feel like I've had just a lot of friendships where they just felt like they were kind of wanted me to be like the side character in their life. Like I was more of just like a, like a side character in their whole shebang for them to be the center of attention.
Yep. Did not like when you shined.
Yeah, it was more just like, I was like, oh, great. But this is what's going on in my life. And it was all centered around what they had going on all the time. Yeah. And I think I'm such like a, I love to support people and hear them out, that for a long time I was just like, yeah, that's great. I'm all about it, but without realizing that there was not like an equal level of energy.
Or like even like communication. Like I feel like I lost it. I was like, oh, what about
that's so real, honestly.
About something about ghosting.
Yeah.
But maybe this is more in the favor of like relationships, like your friends you could just like not communicate with.
That's true.
And then just like pick up like 6 to 8 months later, be like, "What's up, bitch? What's going on?"
That's so
like
true.
You wouldn't be able to do that in a relationship.
Definitely.
Probably.
Definitely. Yeah. I do think I'm trying to be better about being more mindful of that, of knowing like you have to stay some level of engaged in friendships, because I definitely have a tendency to just like go isolate and be off the grid, and then being like,
that just means like your people won't understand. Like between you and me, like you could just leave and be gone, and you can call me up out of the blue 5 years later, and I'd be like, "Where the fuck have you been? Let's hang out." Like there would be no ill will. There'd be nothing like that. But maybe it's because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But all the people in my life just kind of understand. They'll just kind of, "Hey, what are you been up to?"
Because there's definitely the people that don't. I've experienced that too.
Oh, totally. Like, even one of my like closest friends, when we first became friends, we were talking all the, he was like texting me all the time. We were hanging out all the time, this and that. And it finally got to a point where I was just like, "Hey man, like I gotta tell you, like I talk to you more than my literal brother. Like I I was just like, that's not how I am. And then we had to figure that out. And neither one of us were wrong. It's like they're the kind of person that like likes to see their friends and talk to their friends like every single day. And like I'm kind of more like, I saw you last week, dude. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting just thinking about like the differences between, friendships and relationships. But I feel like and I'm not really one to stand by and preach all the things that come along with a good relationship, but I feel like there should be a solid level of good friendship.
Totally.
Like you should
gotta go the friends to lovers trope, because that way you had all that good stuff we're talking about, where it's like, you don't let your friend be emotionally draining to you and belittle you, and then it can kind of develop into a relationship. But how have you had any experiences like that where you had a friend for quite some time and it like kind of transitioned? Because I feel like the majority of my relationships, for the most part, have been like the intention was set romantically from the get-go. Like we met and like went on a date, or we met and like did that kind of thing. I don't think I've yet to experience someone where it's like it's been a friend and it's kind of went that route.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
It seems so rare, but it's such a common trope.
I know. I feel like it's hard to imagine that that's something I would do, because I feel like once you like have it in your mind,
once you put it in the friend place,
that
totally.
it just stays there.
Totally. Something's got to happen. That's why it's got to be rare.
Right.
I feel like it's got to be friends, and maybe like the universe, there's like a timing kind of thing that kind of happens.
Shifts.
But there's got to be some type of moment where one or both people, I feel like, see the other person in a different light.
Right.
Because I'm the same way. Like when somebody's just like a friend, like you just get into that category, and it's like there's no type of like stuff. I also feel like I can't imagine any of my friends like being attracted to me like that. It's just the way that like we communicate and stuff. I'm like, all the aloofness and mystery is out. Like I don't try to cultivate any level of mystique like in relationships. Like even though we're friends, you know, like you got to make sure you still keep it a little buttoned up. You keep a little bit of this
the Zaza Zoom.
Yeah, the Zaza Zoom. But with friends and stuff, I can't imagine. I'm like, no, They've seen me. They've seen too much.
Which is funny, because ultimately, like, that's what they say is like, you know, in a marriage, like you see all of that, like in your long-term partner. But I still like believe like there's like a sense of kind of that, you know, that kind of.
But maybe that's
maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, maybe that's the toxicity. Maybe that's why we're both unwed. Unwed, unvetted, childless, in a cold, empty earth with many cats.
Oh man! So what about you guys? Have you guys experienced?
Do you go into a cold bed? Do you also have cats? Dorothy's looking. You gotta be a friend first, but not too much of a friend. So find the line. You'll figure it out.
You can answer those things too, but also, have you experienced the friend to lover trope? Yeah. And was it successful for you?
Can we get you on the pod? What if I only call the podcast the pod moving forward?
I mean,
is that all right with you?
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
All right. I mean, yeah.
All right. But anyone out there where it's like, I want to hear from you. We'll get you on a Zoom. If you're like, this is my childhood best friend. We never thought of each other that way. And it wasn't until one day when we were both this, and this is what happened. And I turned around, I'm like, you are my love of my life. You have been here every day, but I was too clueless to see. But now the rain clouds have evaporated.
I lied.
Oh,
I have had one.
How dare you lie?
It didn't work out well though. Obviously.
How long were you friends?
We were friends for like a couple years in college.
Yeah.
And it was like we were like best friends.
Yeah.
And then it was there was kind of like. We gave it a shot, which honestly we shouldn't have, because
just we talking like a date,
crumbled.
Or you like dated for a bit?
We dated for like a bit. I don't know how long it was, but we did like a couple months, and then we were like, no, we should just be friends. Like this is not. Ended up being just like too messy to try to bring that side of
How
into
was,
it.
and you don't have to, obviously you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. We cut out, but how was the intimacy?
It was good. I
It was
think
good?
actually,
the transition was fine?
Weirdly enough, yeah. Because I always thought that, like, how are you suddenly intimate with somebody that you only saw as friends? But I think there was a level of attraction
That's what I was going to ask.
that was always there that, like, just was like, oh, this is my friend, but I find them attractive, but it's just my friend. And I feel like you have to have that in order to eventually turn it into intimacy. I don't know.
Definitely. Or in some way that has to be cultivated.
Right, right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry it didn't work out.
So, well, you know, but.
Are you guys still friends?
Oh, no, I'm blocked.
You're blocked.
I'm blocked.
Were you the villain in the story?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Were they or no villain?
It was back and forth.
did the
Like he
dumping?
broke it off, and then we got back together, and then a lot of craziness happened,
Okay.
and then I broke it off, and he was like,
Whoa.
"No, I want to get," and then I got blocked for saying no. I already met a new man at that point, and I was like, "You should just move on," and then he blocked me on everything.
Dang. Can I see a photo? Not right now, but
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Yeah. I like
I
to
have
put the
tea.
faces.
I have tea I could give you actually about all that, but not podcast tea.
Not podcast
but
tea.
private friend tea.
Yeah, okay. Maybe one day if you're lucky.
Probably not. Don't get your hopes up.
Well, if you become a private friend,
You'll get the tea.
you'll get the tea. Okay, mine is I don't know how many fellas. I need you to jump in the comment section so we can know our demographics. But for you, I wrote down. Do you have any advice for men on how to approach women appropriately?
Oh, like a random woman in public?
Yeah, in any case, when we could walk through different scenarios. Like I feel like there's a different scenario for like, you know, a social engagement, like a bar or a concert or whatever. But then I'd also be curious, like something like a coffee shop or a gym or what have you. And then the secondary question is, when should you never approach a woman?
Oh.
Like in what situations is it like just don't?
Yeah.
Like funeral, don't.
Oh.
Yeah. Planned Parenthood, don't.
Yeah. So I think that's a great question. I think one thing that's really important for men to know is women always feel unsafe. Like generally speaking, like we always feel like men are a threat to us. Like for our literal safety. So when like really not to, or to be really mindful is like places or situations where she might feel extremely unsafe. Like she's walking on the sidewalk by herself at night, or she's at a gas station like at night by herself. These are moments where like her fight or flight is like really activated. So that's just something to be like mindful of.
Absolutely.
But if approaching in like a place where it would be very normal, I actually had an interaction at the grocery store the other day, so it's like a good example for this. I think the biggest tip I would give you is like respectful, and then like don't be overly like, if you give her the room to kind of make the difference, it will be more attractive to her. So if you come on
get
like
all up
too
in their
strong
space.
and you know, don't be overly like sexual, or you know, be respectful about it. So like I had a guy come up to me at the grocery store, and based off of the comment, it like really made me rethink. I was like, is he gay? But he didn't seem gay. Anyways, but I had this like really cute dress on or whatever, and he just like came next to me and was like, that is a great dress. And we were like in the same aisle, and I was like, oh, thank you. And I looked up, he was so handsome. And I was like, you are very handsome. And he was like, oh, me? Thank you. And whatever. And then in that moment, I was like, okay, well,
goodbye.
Goodbye. And I started to walk away, and he was like, well, have a great night. And I said, you too. And literally, I wish I had said like, oh, and what's your name? And continue. He didn't push it any further than that. And for the rest of the night, I regretted not straight up. I regretted not saying like, what's your name? And like at least provoking the conversation like a little bit further. But just because he was like respectful, hands off about it, said something sweet. And
what store was this?
Whole Foods.
That's where you got him. Yeah.
So if you're watching this, gentleman, handsome gentleman.
If you handsome gentleman at Whole Foods that commented on Dorothy's dress. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. And I was thinking about this because I was at the gym today. And I was just like thinking about how many like dudes are there. And I was just like, and like, I feel like I've been on that because we're doing a podcast. I've been on that side of like social media of like different podcasts and stuff. And so here's the advice I would give men. And then you can tell me from your perspective, like if it's not good. That's the first thing that I thought of. I'm like, dude, like most women are probably terrified most of the time they're out there because there's so many freaking creeps and losers out there. And they all, not to generalize, but all women love true crime. So in their free time, they're freaking themselves out by listening to these murders. So you need to remember that. So that's the first thing is like if you're approaching that situation of like somebody is probably already on like high alert, you're already going to like set yourself apart from the vast majority of people. And then the second thing I would like, I guess, advise men is like, when you're approaching someone, anybody, like, just relax and like don't have like an end goal in mind. Like not every interaction you're gonna have is gonna be like a positive or successful one, and not every interaction like should like result in like being like, oh, well, like they're into me, like da-da-da. Like if you, and that's why the biggest piece of advice is if you're like somebody that's like, wow, like I'd really like to approach more women or I'd like to approach more people, whatever. Start by just approaching people in general, because if you then when you approach like a woman who you might be interested in, they'll be able to tell that your energy is like, oh, this isn't someone who singled me out because I'm attractive. They just seem like a friendly person.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the third thing would just, like she said, like respect the space, but like just be nice, be polite, be engaging, and like leave it at that. You know, like it doesn't have to follow up with something, and like, and you never know when you'll run into somebody again. So like you might run into this guy, and maybe now Dorothy will be the one to say hello or something like that.
Yep.
That was my advice.
Oh, no, I think that was very sound advice. I think it goes a lot hand in hand with just that.
Try to be funny. When in doubt, be funny.
Yeah. You know, you could spruce up the charm in like an authentic kind of way.
I chatted with someone, not like an approach way, just like in a general way, but I realized maybe that's how they were taking it. And then I probably like said the wrong things because we were like at the gym. This was a while ago. I just got done with like the leg press, the one where you're like sitting down. And I must have had like maybe like 4 or 5 plates on like each side. And then this like woman came up and like she asked if I was done. I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, how many do you want? Like what I asked, like people like, cause I can take some on, I can leave some off. And I thought she had said like add another one. And I looked at her and it was like somebody like smaller than me. Like I'm like 200 pounds. Like I'm almost 6 feet. I was like, damn. I was like, you are really strong. And she's like, what? I was like, you want me to add another one? And she's like, oh, no. And like I misunderstood, whatever. And then we just started chatting or whatever. And then somehow it came up. I was like, well, like you're doing great. Like you look really great. And I could just tell as soon as that came out, like I meant it so like, what's the word? Like innocuously. Like I meant it so benign, but I could just see like all the interactions that person had. And so I just went like, they were like, oh yeah, thanks. I was like, okay, well, bye. Just never spoken to this person ever again. But it put in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, like I gotta be more aware because I just be treating everybody the same. And then sometimes you walk away and you're like, oh, like there was somebody I was getting on an elevator. And I didn't even think about it, but they like walked to the wrong one that wasn't open, and then they made like some type of like silly noise, like and I just like happened to like laugh, and I was like, and like went in, and then afterwards I like realized I was like it was like a woman who was like kind of my age, and they had like kept kind of looking at me, and I was like, oh, maybe I made them uncomfortable, but like, I was just laughing at the silly noise they made, but I'm like, so be mindful, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, and take my advice, but don't take it as much as I take it. So when you're not even like aware who you're talking to, like it could be anybody.
And also, for the love of all things holy, men at the gym do not interrupt her set to talk to her.
So dumb.
Like I feel like that's just like the most basic thing, but you'd be so amazed how many men I've had come up to me and in the middle of a set will say, take off your headphones. Like I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah. Just the worst. That would be, the last question, when to never approach a girl. That was up on mine. When someone's in the middle of a set, or if someone's wearing headphones, I don't know why people think this is okay. Don't ask someone to take off headphones. Like, just communicate your point. And if they want to take it off, like, if someone's working out and they have headphones on, like, you don't have to be like, hi, excuse me, how many sets do you have left? You could just go like, hey, how many, and people understand. Yeah. What are other times when not to, I guess, the safety.
The biggest,
What about ones that are, like, not necessarily safety related, just times that it's like, but, like, that's just not Why?
Well, I've had times where I'll literally, like, when I've been out on a date with my ex-boyfriends,
gosh.
and they'll go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and men will come up to me when they're in the bathroom and be like, hello, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So just like, come on, like, be just a little
Once
bit
again, I've
more.
accidentally been that guy. Like I was, this is when I was in Toronto and I was just bopping around. And I like stopped in this bar that had been recommended to me, and it was like, you know, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something. And I didn't even realize these people were like they must have been on a date or something. But the guy walked up to go get something, and without even thinking, I just turned because this person was right next to me. I was like, oh, excuse me. And they like turned and they were like affronted. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, do you happen to know like the Wi-Fi password? And I just, and then the guy was like looking at me, and she's like, oh, and then when she realized I was like not trying to like hit on her, she's like, oh no, sorry, I don't. But then the guy was all like, it's our time for us to go, and I was just sitting there and like, I was just like, oh man, like sometimes I just be talking. I'm not thinking about context. I just wanted to know the Wi-Fi. I was traveling. I just needed. I was international, so you know.
Yeah. I also too like men to just be aware that like women by default for our own protection are overly nice most of the time.
Yeah.
And don't mistake her niceness for liking you or being interested in you. And I know that's it's a confusing thing for you guys to navigate. I totally understand, but like just know that most of the time women default to just being friendly so we're not murdered. And it doesn't necessarily mean she has any interest in you whatsoever.
I just assume nobody's interested in me like that ever until we're like essentially making out. And it's worked out pretty well for me. Like I'll be on dates and they'll be like, oh, I had such a nice time. I'm like, you don't have to say that. And they're like, no, I did. I'm like, we don't have to hang out ever again. They're like, do you not want to see me? And I'm like, no, I had a great time. I'd love to see you again. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, I just couldn't tell if you liked me. And they're like, how are you supposed to know? I was like, you just got to like really be over the top with me. Like you got to like put your hand on me and be like, I like this. I'll be like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right. We're in.
Hunga, I like this.
Yeah. Give me like a honk, you know, just be like, I like that man meat. I'm like, oh, okay. Be like, yeah. Yeah.
That's a good rule to live by, I think, for the most part.
Or you could. Well, now we're into like date territory. There's certain things you can do. I feel like to like suss it out. You know, like and again, like don't be like overly weird or aggressive or like sexual, but like you could do like little things. Like maybe if you're like taking like a walk, you know, and like if I don't know, like, and you kind of brush up against each other. Like, you'll notice if someone is like really not into that, or like just read someone's body language, you know, or like,
for sure.
Or just try to think like, oh, or do they seem interested in this conversation? Like, if I let a silence lapse, are they interested in filling it? You know, or you know that kind of stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you can always do the hair move.
What's the hair move?
Oh, just you have something in your hair, like your hair's caught in your earring or something like that. And if they immediately go like, oh, I got
flinch.
it. yeah, you got it. But if they're like, oh, and then if you kind of be like, oh, do you mind if I, you know? yeah. If you ever do anything and the woman flinches, just be like, thank you for your time, goodbye, and never speak to her ever again.
She just puts you in a chokehold when you gotta move it straight.
She like does that thing with like Krav Maga, they grab your hair.
Oh, that's good. Well, you want to throw in one more question, then we'll give our piece of advice. We've managed to jibber jabber for a full hour already.
Well, we got through all of mine from this episode, but
great.
Last episode you told me you were going to tell me about Gypsy Rose.
Yeah.
And did you watch Singles Inferno at all?
No. Oh no, I totally
or
forgot.
Love on the Spectrum?
No.
Okay.
I completely
Well, that's your
forgot.
homework for.
Okay, I have homework.
You have until the end of the year.
I think I can manage it, maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I know the Gypsy Rose, it's starting to already die out her
fandom,
quote unquote 15 minutes, right, of all the insanity.
Yeah.
So just like a little, you know, from what I researched, and do your own research, you guys, but this is like a quick summary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially her mother was pretty much had her fully convinced that she was like super sick and needed to be on like all of these
it's
meds.
It's like a TV show now, right?
Yeah.
Too, right?
Yeah. It's a documentary. And she was like taking all these, the doctors were even like behind, like she was literally getting all this false information all the time that she was super sick and she was like trapped in her home all the time. She was in a wheelchair, like full to the max craziness.
It's like her whole life?
Yeah, it was for, I don't know how old she was when it started to fizzle out. I think maybe like teens, but don't quote me on that. Okay. Right. So she had a boyfriend. Yeah. And she essentially like plotted with her boyfriend to kill her mother so that she could be free of the chains of her mother and all this insanity that's been going on and whatever.
And the guy did it.
And they both went to jail, her for obviously, conspiring and him for committing the actual murder and whatever. Again, I don't know the exact, that I would definitely look that up. But she was pretty young. Like she pretty much grew up. Like she had no like real childhood because it was all this insanity. And then she was in jail.
7 years.
Okay. What age was she when she went in? Do you know? And what's interesting to me is that because her mom caused all of this like emotional trauma and everything to her, she got out earlier, right?
24. She was 24 when she went to jail.
When she went in?
Yeah, and she was sentenced to 10 years, but got out.
Got out early, okay. And she got out early. There was a lot of like, quote unquote, not forgiveness, but like, air around the side that her mom caused all this. So of course she felt like that was her only option, right? But what I find interesting is that, she was essentially... And the boy's in for life. Like the boyfriend is in for life. No parole.
And she's got a new man.
Yeah. She has a new husband
Imagine you kill your girlfriend's mom at her behest and then you take the fall.
In for life.
And then
she's
she
out
gets somebody
early
else.
and has a new man.
And talking about his fire D.
Crazy. I'm not gonna say if I was him, but
I'd be breaking out of that prison.
Murdering everybody.
You want to see? Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so and now it's interesting because like when she got out, she had this huge blow of fame of people like so happy she was released because
she's like a murder mastermind.
Right. People felt so bad because like they felt like it was almost justified. Yeah. That she did it because of all the trauma she experienced with her mom. But I feel like we're being a little too gentle around the idea that she literally like conspired for this murder, even if it was in, extreme conditions and whatnot. But yeah, so now and then she like started going on tour. She's like on a tour.
And now she's
doing all these interviews.
Now there's like a show about her. But like what was weird to me is I know there was like another famous case of like the two brothers. Do you know about this? The two brothers and like their father was like an abuser and like a graper and like all that kind of stuff. Like, and so the two boys, like the two sons, like they murdered their father and they went to prison. Yeah, they're still in prison.
So is it for life? Do you know?
I think so. Yeah. I'd have to check, but
yeah, it's.
And I'm like, I wonder if that's like a double standard because of gender a little bit.
Oh. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I understand that like she didn't like actually commit the act, but like how can like encouraging someone? And,
I know it feels a little. It's like hiring a hitman,
but also like she's also like a product of her upbringing and stuff. So it's like I understand where the other people are coming from. Where it's I
get both sides.
If she was raised in like a healthy, appropriate environment, like none of this would have necessarily happened. But like,
I feel like it's cool to have the understanding that she's out, but it's weird to make her into a huge celebrity as soon as she gets out of prison. Yeah. And like kind of turn her into this. I don't know. I think that, and also it's going to be a really weird adjustment period for her too, because she literally went from being this like fucked child experience to being in jail, and now she's coming out to being like a full blown celebrity because of her story. So I feel like it's definitely it's interesting, very interesting. But already it's starting to come to a crash. I feel like people are not really talking about it as much at this point already.
All those things go fast. Well, if we ever run out of content for our jibber jabber, and we can always like do one of those podcasts where it's like we watch like an episode of something and then we like
go deep dive into
deep dive into
all the nuances.
Yeah. But piece of advice.
Yeah, piece of advice for the people.
For the people advice. I guess we kind of already like touched on it with like the kind of friend breakups and stuff, but like I feel like something I've been working on lately is like just like giving yourself time and space. I guess I kind of said this like last time too, but like just know that like you're doing a good job, guys. Like just getting through the day, you know, trying to be the best version of yourself, loving your friends and your family. Like that's enough. I feel like we as a culture, like especially like in this country, like the work to live to work, like we put so much pressure, especially if you're someone like us, like working freelance or like artistic endeavors, like whatever, like you can almost like never like churn it off. And so just like reminding yourself, guys, that like we're in a very unique time in history and like it'll never be like this again. And it was never like this before. So like just remember to enjoy yourself and, you know, cut yourself some slack.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that with my advice and just say really tune into your intuition with like what your body needs and what your mental health needs, and give yourself the grace to do things to take care of yourself in those time periods, and kind of being able to like block out what you feel like everybody else is telling you that you need to be like doing, or, you know, at this time of your life, or, you know, whatever kind of expectations everybody's throwing on you, and being able to just quiet all the noise and really like be intuitive with yourself and say, okay, what do I need? Do I need to be resting a lot right now? Do I need to be focused more on, you know, my happiness and my joy and getting into that? Or do I need to be focusing on my work and my productivity and taking that seriously, and being able to be more intuitive about what it is that you need to focus on, and not so much just listening to the noise.
Yeah. Like those freaking podcasts.
Like us.
Yeah.
How dare we?
What are you listening to?
Get out of here.
What are you doing? Get out of here. Go do something else. Go make a cake.
Go make a cake.
Go for a run.
Have you seen those bloody cakes?
No, what's a bloody cake?
Oh my God, I want one. I think it's a Taylor Swift thing, but Taylor Swift aside.
Taylor's just got a lot of things.
I know. but I want the non-Taylor Swift version of where it's a heart cake and then you stab it with a knife in the middle and it like oozes out this red, what looks like blood stuff.
Like a lava cake? Okay.
Yeah, like lava, but red. Blood. That will be my birthday cake this year.
Your next Twitch stream? Baking stream?
Oh. I think I'll save it for like a birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Valentine's Day passed by, am I just making a random bloody heart cake on a Tuesday?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
It's something I would do.
For content.
For content.
For content. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Feel free to drop a comment below. We are Ginger Unscripted everywhere. We're still trying to get our TikTok up to 1,000 followers so we can go live, so we can record this process for you guys in a live stream format as well. Yes. But as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for the support.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to shout out before we go? Anything you got coming up, or anything you want people to?
Oh, no, but leave comments, questions, because this is great.
We read them.
We love them. We read them and we bring them in here.
We do. I still haven't checked if there are any Apple comments.
Oh, well,
I don't think
that's
so.
Zach's homework, so he's going to
You gotta watch.
Do that
you gotta watch
week.
Love on the Spectrum or Singles Inferno, the newer seasons of both, and
Great.
you have 8 months.
Great.
No,
and you have to check
you have
Apple
10
comments.
months. Okay.
And maybe Spotify, because I didn't look at those.
Yeah. No,
Great.
I included those in the last episode.
Okay, but I didn't this time.
Oh, okay.
Great.
We'll
yeah.
check it.
I don't even know how to check that. You're the tech guy.
That's not good. That's not good for us.
So leave us questions and we will answer them. But we love you guys.
All right. Love you lots, guys. Bye.
Toodaloo.
Goodbye.